Welcome back everyone to more stories from r/entitled parents. Today we've got 5. The first one is about OP's ex's girlfriend acting like OP is obligated to take her kids for the weekend. The second one is about a woman calling the cops on OP for smoking cannabis in Canada where it's legal. The third one is about a Karen calling the cops on OP for being at a restaurant because she thinks only church members can be at that restaurant. The fourth one is about OP disappearing for a day when OP was 3 years old. And the last one is about a school bully getting what he deserves. So let's just get right into these. This one's called Ex's Girlfriend Expects Me to Take Her Kids for a Weekend. Some background info that is relevant. My ex is not actually my ex. We've been separated for 9 years now, but we've never actually signed papers for numerous reasons, financial being the biggest one. We've co-parented our son well for those years, and for the past 8 years, we've included my boyfriend in the process. We've been doing quite well at this, and the three of us have established a pretty good relationship. 2 years ago, however, my ex got a new girlfriend. Her and I don't get along, mainly on her part. And no, I don't just say this because it's my side. I've always encouraged my son to respect her and try to get along with her, but he can't stand her, or her 2 daughters. I don't mind her youngest. She's hyper and bounces off the wall, but she's 8. It's to be expected. The oldest one is 11, the same age as my son. She, however, is she's a bitch. She actively ridicules and belittles her sister, my son, and my daughter, 6 years old. She's rude to me, my ex-in-laws, and even my ex. This girl is absolutely out of control. With the background out of the way, last weekend was my son's weekend at his father's. My ex and I were discussing it when he dropped my son off on Wednesday, and he mentioned that it might be easier if we switched weekends around. But he wasn't sure if he could find a babysitter for the 2 girls, so we had to wait and see. I was fine with that and told him to just keep me informed. Later that night, his girlfriend sent me a message saying that since I was taking my son for the weekend, number 1, I could just take the 2 girls and keep them for the weekend too. Before I could even respond to this, she added that she would send them over clothes and some money so we could get pizza. I told her that I wouldn't be taking her girls, that I wasn't taking my son for the weekend, that he lives with me, and his father and I were just switching weekends around. And I certainly wasn't taking her children for the weekend. She sent a message back saying that it was very rude of me to not take her girls, since she took my son every other weekend. Before I could respond, again, she sent another message saying she'd send over $15 for pizza. I told her that she didn't take my son on the weekends, that my son spent the weekends with his father, and I reiterated again that I wouldn't be taking her girls. She responded asking what I was doing that I couldn't take the girls. I told her we weren't doing anything. We were just going to have a nice relaxing weekend. She asked why I would ruin her and my ex's weekend by not taking the girls. By this point, I was annoyed and told her that I didn't like her oldest daughter, and she was a brat, and she wasn't allowed in my home outside of emergency situations. She responded by saying that I was an awful person, a terrible mother, and I didn't deserve children since I clearly didn't understand parents who just need a break. I ended up blocking her, but damn. Yeah, she's definitely trying to lump her kids in with the rest of the kids and act like they're just family too. And she's trying to make the excuse that, oh, I took care of your kids for the weekend, so it's your turn to take care of mine. But in reality, it's like, no, you didn't take care of my kids. You're just dating the father of my kids that had to take care of them nonetheless. This one's called Entitled Mom Tries to Get Me Arrested for Smoking Cannabis in Canada. Note, cannabis is legal in all of Canada for those of you who don't know. So one day, I was just smoking out on the street and some woman walks up with her kid and says to me, "What are you smoking?" So I said, "Cannabis?" And she instantly replied with, "That's illegal. I'm calling the cops now." And obviously I said, "No, it's not. It was legalized by the Canadian government a while ago." She responds, "You really believe in those conspiracy theories?" It's not a conspiracy theory. It was announced by the government," I said. She ignored me and called 911. The cops showed up and asked us what was going on. The entitled parent says, "He was smoking cannabis. That's illegal." The cops told her that it obviously wasn't and left. The entitled parent left angrily and haven't seen her since. She really hasn't been keeping up with this stuff, has she? And I'm sure some people might think that, maybe it's because OP was smoking in public. And I was curious myself, so I looked up the Canadian laws regarding this. And it turns out that medical cannabis can be smoked in public where tobacco smoking is allowed. But recreational cannabis has to be used in private. And I'd imagine that if you are just a recreational user using it in public, they're probably still pretty lax on enforcing that law, as long as you're respectful and mindful about it. And this one's titled, Karen Called the Cops on Me at Tim Hortons. For some context, I live in a predominantly Catholic city, where most people attend church on a regular basis. I, however, was not raised Catholic or religious really, so I kinda stand out a little bit from most people. This all happened about 2 years ago when I was still in high school. My high school was just down the road from a Tim Hortons, and across the road from that is a pretty large church. It's the only one in the neighborhood, I think. On Sunday, I decided to grab a coffee on my way to pick up a textbook for one of my classes. It was about 12, so church had just ended, so there was a decently long lineup for the Tims. I had waited in line for about 5 minutes when a woman walked up to me and started talking to me. It was a pretty normal conversation, but then she asked why she hadn't seen me that morning. I was confused since I literally had never spoken to this woman before. She told me that this Tim's belonged to the church, which it didn't actually. I casually explained that I did not attend the church she was talking about. She gave me a confused stare and muttered an, "Oh," before walking away. Skip forward to Tuesday. I was once again at that Tim's getting some lunch when the same lady walks up to me and starts to berate me for being at the Tim's. She says, "I thought I told you this Tim's is for the church only." I respond, "Yeah, but it's just a Tim's. Anyone can come in here if they want to though." She goes on, "No, this Tim's is not for anyone who doesn't attend the church." I respond, "But the next Tim's is like 5 kilometers away." She continues to just yell at me in front of everyone in the Tim's. I was actually just going to leave to get lunch for my school. Then she dropped the Karen bomb. "If you do not leave the Tim's right now, I'm going to call the police." I decided at that moment to just stand still and let her call the cops. About 10 minutes later, 2 officers showed up. The Karen tells them that I am disrespecting her, disrespecting God, and disrespecting the church. I tell them that I'm just a hungry teenager trying to get my lunch, but the cops take her side and call both my parents and my school. My super awesome vice principal shows up and demands to know why he got a call from the police about one of his students. The officer tells him what's happening. My vice principal asks me if it's true, and I tell him that I was just trying to get some lunch. My VP then asked the officers what laws I had broken, and they responded with some BS about harassment or something like that. My parents are called in, and my mom tells the cops to F off, and that I didn't do anything wrong. But Karen keeps insisting that I had been harassing her. Then one of the employees chirps in and starts to vouch for me. Eventually the cops leave, and so do my parents. I get my lunch, and my VP walks me back to school. I never ran into that lady after that, but I made sure to get lunch from that Tim's as often as I could. I love that instead of getting scared off from going there again, OP just kinda decided, you know what, I'm gonna go here more often now, just to be spiteful. I really wonder where this is, because OP mentioned that it was a city. This sounds like the kind of thing that you'd see in some small backwoods town in the middle of nowhere in the south of the US or something. And this one's titled, "Today I found out I disappeared for a day at 3 years old because a mother took me away with no warning." Mom told this story at her shop, and I swear, I can't even believe it happened. I was playing in a small trampoline with a child around my same age. Mom met a friend of hers, and she spent 1 minute looking at her baby, and in that exact minute, both me and the child I was playing with were gone, along with the mother of the child. Mom was obviously worried. She looked for me everywhere and cried a lot, and 2 parents helped her, a mother that had a child at home and a father with 2 children. The father tried to soothe my mom down, although he never left his children's hands the whole day, according to her. A day passed. It was around 7 p.m. Someone said, what if she went to the beach, attracted by the water? And then Mom broke because she was certain I was dead. I couldn't even speak, as if I could swim. But I wasn't dead. Looking at the beach, I was there, with that mother and her child, gathering seashells. Mom didn't even have the strength to fight her. She just took me and brought me to her car, still shaking and being helped by the mother since she could barely stand. On the other hand, she could hear the father of 2 fight for her instead. He said, "What in the world were you doing with that mother's child?" And she responds, "She looked like she was having so much fun with my child, and he wanted to take seashells, so I thought I could bring her too." And why didn't you warn her mother? I thought she saw us. I did this in innocence. I think I found why I took swimming lessons so early. Mom must have had a heart attack. Who in their right mind takes a child assuming the mother saw? So OP said a day passed before they found her. Did the parents just not think to call the cops? Someone in the comments mentioned that this person was probably only playing it up and acting like it was no big deal because she got caught, and was never actually intending to return the kid. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but as always with these stories, it's up to you guys whether or not you want to believe it. I just felt it was worth reading nonetheless. This one's called "Son of a Teacher Gets Destroyed by Old Video." Some background. So there was this kid in my school that was the son of the primary head teacher. He was the kind of kid that would abuse their parents' job to not get in trouble. He would do a lot of bad stuff to other kids and never get in trouble. There are many kids like this in my school. This kid had started getting more annoying. He started getting more cocky and overconfident because his mother had made the head of primary. He used this to do bad things to people. He even stapled one of my friend's hands with a stapler in class. Me and my friends were very annoyed at him and wanted to vent our hatred of him. So we grabbed one of the iPads during golden time, which is free time, and used the free editing program to make a song about him. The song was like a rap, but it was all insults and things about him. We even added special effects and things to make it cool. At the end of the day, we watched it a couple times with more friends, saved it in a folder in the iPad, and put it away. 2 years later, in class, my friends, the singer and the one that appears in the video, gets called by the head of primary and is taken away with her. A couple minutes later, she comes back and pulls me with her too. They have found the song. The entitled kid was crying and telling his mother, like, expel them, kick them out. She had the power to get us in trouble, but she could not do that. We instead got a lot of detention and we had to delete the video. This only made entitled kid more insufferable and to pick on us more. But when he annoyed us, we just sang verses of the song and he left running. He left the school a year later and told everyone he was bullied. And this was r/entitled parents. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you next time.